Hello, my name is Lacking a Name, and for this month's drawing, I am doing. It was kind of a different idea for a picture. It's just Levita floating around in a old spaceship, kind of inspired by the Alien films in that cassette futuristic aesthetic. And so, like, you'll see later on in the picture that we got like a window going out into space, and we see a planet and the emptiness of space and stuff going on there. So, along with trying something different with this drawing, I also decided I'll try something different with my recording. And surprisingly, I don't have that many stories about space. I think it's interesting, but it's not something that I've dived a whole lot into that I'd have any real interesting stories with it. So instead I thought, you know what, I think I'll share some stories about being nice to my mom. She's been a wonderful person and has been really supportive of my comic and such over all these years. So I thought, you know what, I'll share some stories of some nice stuff I've done for her. So if you've enjoyed these stories, let me know, and you can also come and read Gnosis. Over at gnosis.com. There's going to be links in the descriptions. Patreon, I'm trying to push a little bit this week and month to get some new Patreon subscribers. There's 3 people right now, and they've been a huge help, but I have a goal by the end of the year. I'd like to reach $100 worth of Patreon subscribers every month. So if you feel like you can afford to help me reach that goal, please do. I really appreciate it. So, kind of with my first story of my mom is that she liked the Twilight books. I've never read them, never will read them probably, but she liked them a lot. So when the movies were coming out, at the time we lived in Ohio, and the first film was set to release on a DVD, and we lived in a little town called Ostrander at the time. It was like a really small place, hardly any people. I think it had like 200 people or something on it. The main street had a stop sign there, if I remember correctly. This was a long time ago. But yeah, so like nobody was really out there in Ostrander. So as such, the nearest Walmart to pick up the movie was 45 minutes away. So me and my brother decided that we were going to surprise our mom by picking up this film for her, the first movie. And so that weekend there was a scout camp out going on that me and my brother, we just decided we weren't going to go. We didn't want to do it. We weren't going to go. And my dad was one of the scout leaders, so he had to go, and he was pretty upset with us that we weren't willing to go do that. So he left grumpy at us, and me and my brother that night we went to bed, and at 1 in the morning we got up and we snuck out of the house. Now, the first thing we were worried about was opening up the garage door, because our parents' bedroom, it was a 2-story house, and their bedroom was right over the garage, so that was going to make a whole lot of noise getting everything out. And at the time I had my driver's license. I was barely 16 at that time, so legally I could drive, but I shouldn't have been out at 1 in the morning. So we figured that, well, this is going to be our first hurdle to get past, and we were decently confident that it would work, because my mom's a very heavy sleeper. And so we open the garage door, doesn't wake up, get the car out, doesn't wake up, and close it, and off we go. And so we're heading towards the nearest town, which was Marysville, I believe, where we went to, if that means anything to anyone listening to this. And so we're driving along. It's a lot of kind of the back Ohio country roads. So it's just like trees, cornfields, and occasionally you'll go through some little town with houses or whatnot there. Just a little 2-lane road. And so, 40 minutes going into town, all's good. We get to Marysville and we come to the first stoplight. And directly across from us, coming the other direction, is a police officer. Now, once again, I'm 16. My brother's probably 14, I think, at that point in time. So, we're not supposed to be out past curfew. However, there's a couple things we had going for us. One, I looked older than I really was. So that was something very beneficial there. And two, we're driving a minivan. Now, at the time we thought the idea is like, well, we're not going, kids are going to drive the minivan and get into trouble. Yeah, right. That's not something no, hoodlums will be driving a minivan because they took in their parents' car. So, yeah, we exactly fit that criteria. Except for being like the worst hoodlums anywhere. So we're just kind of sitting there waiting. The light changes and the officer goes by, and so we turn on, go into the Walmart. And we get there, of course, at this point, almost 2 a.m. No one is really in the store. Go into the back, get the movie from my mom, and then drive back home. And I remember as we're driving back home, we're trying to keep me to stay awake, so we're listening to the radio and different things. I remember Iron Man came on, but it's a Black Sabbath version, and so eventually had to change it to something else because I personally prefer Ozzy's cover of it, even though he's the lead singer in both. Yes, I know, but his recover later, that's sped up the tempo because that first one just is real slow and drowsy. Not something you want to be listening to at 2 a.m. So get home. It's now 3 or whatever. Sneak up, put the bag on her bedroom door, and go to sleep. And I remember at one point, sometime in the morning, I don't know how early, but she got up, opened the door, saw that there, and she was so excited. She comes into my room, just gives me a big old hug, and says, "Thank you so much. You can sleep as late as you want." And I was like, yay. And so I did. I slept pretty late. And my dad came home and was surprised at what we did. And that was the whole reason we didn't want to go. We wanted this to be a special surprise for Mom. And it was. So that kind of set a bit of a running gag of going to get the other Twilight movies as they came out for her at 1 a.m. I don't really remember the second one. And I'm pretty sure it was the third one. By that time, we were visiting some friends in Utah, and when the film came out. And so me and a old friend of mine who I was visiting in Utah, we had different family friends and stuff, so we were staying with different people, and I was staying with my old childhood friend. And I talked him into taking me so we could go pick this up so I could keep the tradition go. So we go there, stand in line, get the film, and as we're leaving, I see my mom and her friend come walking into Walmart. And I just keep walking, waiting, nothing. And she just walks past me. Had no idea, just no acknowledgement that I was in a Walmart at 1 a.m. But so nothing. So me and my friend were talking out in the parking lot if we should go and say hi to her and give her the film there, or go ahead and sneak home and put it on the door and let her find it when they get back to her friend's house. And we decided, well, let's not make them waste the money and the time to have to return a second copy. So we go. She's standing in line looking at some shirts and such. And I tap her and she's like, "Oh, you're here! What are you doing here?" Like, "Got this for you, given." She's like, "Oh, thank you." And was so happy and gave me a hug and such. Still had to stand in line so her friend could get her copy because her son's not sneaky and kind, I guess you can say. So, he wasn't there doing it for her. So there's that. I think that was with the third one. And I looked at the release schedules before going over kind of these stories a bit. And it seems like one of them came out when I was on my mission, and I can't remember if my brother snuck out and got that for her or not, if he kept the tradition going. Because there's just no way that was going to work for me at that point in time, in any logistical sense. So that's just been it was just a nice, fun little series of things to do over the course of a few years for her, with these nice, the Twilight films. Just something that she enjoyed, and I guess, played along and made it fun for her. So that was really something enjoyable. Now, kind of along within that same line of doing nice things and surprising her, it's something I did when I was even younger, when we lived in Layton, Utah at the time. I remember my mom had even told me that at one point in time she wanted to be an archaeologist, dig up old ruins and dinosaur bones and stuff like that. So, having watched Jurassic Park and enjoyed it a lot, I decided to make a little fossil hunt for her. So I would go and make paper dinosaur bones and just cut out the shape and such and hide them around the house for her to find every once in a while. And over time we would get a whole velociraptor out of it. Now I remember a few particular hiding places. One I know I hid a bone out on the car windshield once when we were going somewhere. And so as we're leaving, she sees it poking up on her dash, and that was just on her windscreen. That's kind of fun. And I remember once she was taking a nap, and I snuck in and placed the skull on top of the vacuum cleaner in her room. And when she got up, there was the top part of a velociraptor skull looking at her, and so she was pretty excited to have that. And once we had all the bones together, we got just a piece of cardboard and taped them on it, and did the basically the same pose as in Jurassic Park, with the neck kind of tilted backwards, looking upward and whatnot. And so that's just a fun thing. I remember my dad saying, "Do you know why all the dinosaurs' necks are like that?" And I'm like, "Huh? Do you know why all their necks are looking bent back up like that?" And I go, "Why?" And he goes, "Because they're looking at the meteor when they crash down." So my dad being just a bit of a clown, and that's just kind of, I guess, a fun little thing that came from that, of just a nice little series thing doing for her. So I'm trying to think if there's any other good stories of nice things I've done for her that would have been in a longer series of events. Because it's oh yeah, I only did those two nice things for my mom my whole life. The rest of the time I was rotten. No, she said I wasn't really that bad of a kid. And in fact, she says all of us were pretty good. None of us really got into any real trouble with anything. I suppose the most devious thing was I was on my mission at this time. And so this was my second brother, the one who went with me to get the first Twilight film. We had a rule in our house that we couldn't play M-rated video games except for Halo. That's just a rule we decided when we started getting video games consoles and such. Well, Skyrim had come out, and that was rated M. And so he got it and was playing it at night. He would get up after everyone went to bed and would play it. And so to make people go to sleep faster, he started making Orange Julius's and would put two ibuprofens into the Orange Julius and give it to the whole family so they would go to sleep. Now, two of those little allergy pills in a whole thing of Orange Julius isn't going to do anything to put anyone to sleep. But my mom, she was a little peeved at that, at just how devious that was. That he would think of drugging the family so he could play video games. It eventually went up in smoke when he was playing once. and my sister came home from school sooner than expected, and she saw it, and she's like, "Is that Skyrim?" And he's like, "No." She's like, "It's Skyrim." And like, "Yeah, fine it is, but you can't tell Mom." And she couldn't lie, so she told Mom a little bit later, and they sat down, looked over the game, and decided, yeah, it's really not that bad. So it was okay. From then on, he didn't have to keep drugging the whole family with Orange Julius that's been laced with 2 allergy pills. So yeah, he didn't have to keep doing that anymore, and was able to play the game more freely then. So yeah, next time Skyrim releases, which I'm sure will be in just a few more years here for the upteenth time, there's a little story you could think about why you shouldn't drug your family with Orange Julius's. So those have just been a few nice stories about. I said nice stories. 2 of them were nice about doing things for my mom. One of them was the most troubling her kid is, and the trouble they got into just amounts to like the smallest of stuff. So she's been a very good mom and is now a very good grandma. Just yesterday, or actually just the past week at the time of recording this, she was watching one of the grandkids, who he really likes Bluey, and we don't have any Bluey episodes, and we had seen the ones on YouTube like 1,000 times. So she tried putting on Blue's Clues for him, and she hated it, couldn't stand it. So on my suggestion, she decided, well, we'll watch Scooby-Doo. And so she he's 2 years old, so he's not going to really understand it, but she pulled up the couch nice and close to the TV, got a blanket, got some popcorn, and just snuggled with him and watched Scooby-Doo, and the old Where Are You, Scooby-Doo Where Are You season, and it was a lot of fun. So like I said, she's a good mom, and now she's a good grandma. She loves the grandkids. So yeah, I guess those have just been some fun little nice stories. Like I said, something different. I don't have a lot to talk about that's space related or anything like that, but let me know what you think of this subject. Do you want more stories that are unrelated to the drawing, or should I just, focus more on stories that's related to the drawing? I appreciate any feedback that you feel like giving. You can leave it here, or you can go check out Gnosis and leave your feedback on the comment sections there if you prefer to do that. I'm not that picky. I read both of them. Once again, feel free to check out the Patreon, and if you can afford it, throw me a few bucks. I got all the previous month rewards up there still. I don't want, basically, since it's a digital good, I don't want to create FOMO and have people miss out on some of the extra pictures that were drawn just because they didn't know what Gnosis was at the time that I had published those. So yeah, go ahead, that's available for if you want that, and thank you for stopping on by and listening. I hope you were entertained. I hope I gave you some of the warm fuzzies, and most of all, I hope it gives you an idea to do something nice for your own mom. Well, thank you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.